Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And for my French speaking people, bonjour ou bonsoir. How are you guys today? Well, I'm feeling super. I've not been posting for a while because I was writing exams. Share it to a friend if you want them to learn with you or anything. And if you have any like special requests or like a video idea, you can comment down below. And yeah, let's do this thing. So today we're going to be talking about CSS grids. CSS, but it's grids. Sounded cool in my head. That's the title. I'm going to explain the concept here in Figma. And then, uh, yeah, hold on. This is for Flexbox. And then this is for the CSS grid. Oops. Okay, let's get it. All right. So I'm going to explain this whole thing we see here. But first, I have to describe what CSS is because if you're a newbie, you don't know what's happening or what I'm talking about. All right. So, like, what are CSS grids or what is CSS grid? Okay, so you can say that it is one of the most powerful techniques for layout systems in CSS. So basically, it's a 2D system which has rows and columns. So as we can see, these are columns. Like columns go like this, and then rows go like this, right? And then I'll explain what these lines are doing here. Yeah, you'll get it. So yeah, but in Flexbox we have only like one, like it's in one direction or 1D if you want to get technical. So we have the main axis and the cross axis. So basically, when you give stuff properties in the Flexbox, it goes automatically in rows. So yeah, but we're not going to be talking about that. If you want me to make a video about it, then just drop a like, subscribe, and yeah, share the video and also comment, and I'll make sure to get it done. Okay, so now, so the basic idea is that everything is in columns and rows. So you don't have to stress. Basically, it's to manage content better. Like Flexbox was there first, but unfortunately, it had too many disadvantages. Because if you wanted to make um, like boxes like these, you have to make many divs and then like overlap each other. Yeah, so it's this is revolutionary. Okay, so now enough of the talking. So I'm gonna explain. I explain what these are. These are rows. These are columns. And then yeah, let's jump right in. So what I did here is I just linked our HTML to our CSS here, and then there's nothing really inside. So let's fill it up. Okay, so to make boxes, basically let's just give them div properties. Like we'll draw the box will be drawn in CSS. So, but first of all, you got to give it a parent to because the parent is supposed to have all the main property, right? The divs that we're going to be applying the CSS code to and then whatnot. I'll explain it as we get forward, as we go forward. I'll explain as we go forward. All right, so we're gonna make a box. Let's make it like a super div, right? So we have our boxes in it, box times 5, and then we just add numbers 1, 2. Actually, let's make it, since our design has 4, we're gonna use 4. Yeah. Oops. All right. So there's nothing here. There's nothing here. Let's just add numbers. 2, 3. Oops. 3, 4. Yep. See, nothing special, nothing special. Now we move to our CSS. It's already linked, so that's why there's no margin. There's nothing special here. All right. So now the CSS grid is not really complicated. All you really need is to apply the property, the grid property to the parent, and then the children will act on the parent's wishes, basically like inheritance in some sort of way. Okay, so now I'm gonna take the super. It's an ID, so I use a hashtag here, super, and then I display a grid, right? See, nothing really special happens, but there are now boxes drawn that we don't see. So now, what's the first thing that, like the techniques we can use? There are many ways to use display grid, but I'm gonna show you three of my favorites, which are very simple. So you can do it visually, or you can do it like in code. I prefer in code, but like for what I started out, I just basically use this. So what I like to do is this. So first of all, you give it a property of grid, oops, grid template columns. You're basically giving the columns a property. So right, so what do? We can give it, how many columns do we want? Let's say we want 2 columns, so we can give it 300 pixels and 300 pixels. See? See how it splits here? I gotta give them all a box, so don't worry about that. We're gonna fix it. Then we give it grid template rows naturally. So we can say 500 pixels, 500, I wrote 5,000, right? 500 pixels. See how far it is? But now I gotta draw the boxes so it looks nice. So let's say height 100 VH, nothing special there. The width should be 100%. All right. Okay. So basically, as we can see, there's nothing special, but I'm gonna jump cut because I already gave him colors, and copying and pasting them will be a hassle. So I'm gonna just do this. All right, so this is it. We have our background colors on box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4. Nice. All right, so we see how like everything is boxed up because we gave it the columns 300, 300 in height and 500 in width. So you see how it's limited and there's white space. But if we want to make it like better, we can basically like give it fractional units. All right, so you can have pixels, you can have percentages, and you can have fractional units or even m's and rems. So I suggest we use fractional units, 1 FR. The unit for fractional units is FR. And then the benefit of this is like it sets the size. It sets the size in a better way. Like it's not limited. It gives you like it works in percentage kind of like in normal mathematics. So it's like basically saying half of the screen. So if I put 1 FR, it's gonna say okay, the whole thing, like one fractional unit of the whole thing. So that's why we don't see the rest of the columns. I mean the rest of the boxes. So when we divide them, it's like 50-50. Yeah, so that's that. And yeah, that's basically it for the first part of like the like this is how you program it like simply. But now if you want to make it more complex but easy for yourself, you code it visually, and I'll explain what I mean. So there's a property called grid template areas. Grid template areas. All right. And then what this does is like like I said, you code visually. So like this. So the you name the boxes here, then you call them box one, right? There are two. Let me change this to FRs quickly. One FR. Oops, I'm not using my mouse. So no. One FR, and I'll take that out. All right, this works nicely. Yeah. So there's box one, and then we continue. Note that the semicolon doesn't stop here; it continues. So box one, we have 2 columns. I'm gonna make it 3 columns. Actually, make it 3 rows. That's better. 3 rows. See how it gives you a white line because there's nothing there. All right. So there's box 1, box 1. Then we have maybe box 2, box 3. I'll make it like this. Box 2, box 3. Then we have maybe, let's say, box 4, box 4. I think this will work. Yeah, but you see, it does not work yet because you have to apply the same thing. Like you have to apply a property to the children for it to work. And then that property is called grid areas. Area. All right, so you call it box 1 because that's what it's called. See, it's affecting it already. So boom, 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 change the name to 2. So it works. Boom, nice, looking fresh. All right. Same thing applies here. Change it to 3 and make it 4 so it works. 4. See how it changes nicely. Let me fix this to maybe box. Copy the box so we can see better. Right. So that's that. Right. Yep. So I'm gonna give them a font size of maybe 30 pixels so we can see them clearly. Nice. All right. This is very nice. So that's how you do it visually. So we have box 1, box 1. So we'll take the full column. And then we have box 2 and box 3 in the center. And they split the columns into 2 like we have here. And then the third row is box 4, which takes the whole thing just like the box 1. So that's one simple way to do it. If you're a beginner, I suggest you do this. It's very simple. And if you don't want to forget, I mean, there are different ways to do it. So yeah, so there's this, and then there's another way. So we can do it like this, right? Oops, I gotta remove this quickly. Let me just comment them out. All right, everything's back to normal, looking fresh. But now, if we want to do the same thing without the visual layout, you can simply do it like this, like I like to do it like that, like this. Oops, why you do this? Why are you doing this to me, bro? All right. Okay, so now we can give it a property of grid row or grid column. You can solve whichever. So grid row. Now let's go back to this. Yeah. So I remember we spoke about this, the lines I was talking about. So with the method I'm about to use, you need this understanding, right? So we have 1, 2, 3. In columns, basically we have 2 columns here. But if you want to use this method, you gotta count it like the first line to the last line. So 1, 2, 3. So the more they are, the more complex it is. The reason you don't want to use the visual layout, and then maybe if you have a lot of content to manage, you can't type it all out, even though it's good, but it's more stressful because if you make one mistake, that's it. And yeah, okay, that's that. So 1, 2, 3, and then I did not add the number, sorry. So 1, 2, 3, just like the same thing. But in our case, we have 3 rows. So since we have a third row, hold on. Oops. Oh, oops. Okay, so since we have a third row, I'm gonna just do this. Boom, boom, oops, boom. All right, boom. So something like this. Sorry for my bad art. So we have 3 rows, 3 rows. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now let's see how it works in code. So we have grid row, right? So 1, 2, 3, and the bottom 4. All right. So how do we do this? We can say box 1 can have 1 from 1, 2, and 3, right? So we say 1 for the starter and 3 for the ending, right? But if you do this, it's gonna automatically figure out um, how it wants to lay out itself. So if we want to make the box 4 stretch all the way, it's simple. All we got to do is use the same kind of property. That's what it's called, grid column. And then we just say, what do we say? So like we said earlier, 1, 2, 3, we have 2 columns. So just keep in mind that every time you set like a number of columns and you want to use this property, I mean this technique, you can just add 1 in your head. So yeah, so basically 1, 2, 3, even though there are 2 columns. 1, 2, 3. So we just say it starts at 1 and ends at 3. We're defining the boundaries. So you see, boom, very simple. Sorry for going super fast. I'm trying to make it very short for you guys. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, so that's simply that. I'm about to use a third technique I use personally, and I think it's more better and automated than these ones writing them manually and whatnot, like in this area. So yeah, we just expand this. It's responsive, but yeah, you can, like maybe if you're working with images or something else, you can use this property. I'm not going to do that because I want to make it short to make it easy, and we're going to work on these kind of stuff in the future. So yeah, all right, let's do this thing. So what we're going to use is called a repeat notation, and the syntax goes like this: repeat, boom. And then repeat takes values. Okay. And those values are, first of all, the amount of columns or rows you want, depending on the property you're using. So maybe let's say we want 3 columns, and then now we want to set a size for them. So you don't have to write 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. So you just have to just one FR. Sorry for the pun there. So yeah, that's that. You don't have to do much. If you do this, you'll see some things change, right? So you want to automate the same thing for the row. So we have repeat. Basically what it does is multiply like to the number of times you want it to, like, work it. So then we want FR. You don't have to write it, you see, it doesn't change anything really. But now to fill in these boxes, we have to still use this. So this was necessary. That's why I taught you this before I taught you this. All right. So now we can see they're full, but we want to make box 2 come here and box 3 come there. So we're going to use the grid rows, grid row, grid row, grid row. All right. So now we want it to do what? Start from 1, 2, and 3. That's where it starts. That's where it starts. That's where it ends. 1 and 3. So 1 and 3. All right. Boom. Works like magic. And then now, what do we have? We have, I told you can just add 1 in your mind. So we have 3 rows. So therefore, 1 to 4 in box 3. Whoops, grid row 1 to 4. Simple. And yeah, that's that. Oh yeah, before I forget, there's display grid and display inline grid. So basically, we know what display grid is. It just displays, let's say, your content on a block level. But with inline, like the name suggests, it does the same thing, but inside of like a container, you know. You don't really use that a lot, but yeah, you can read on it. I'll leave a link in the description for a good article that sparked my interest to make this video. So yeah, that's basically that. And yeah, also I have my code pen. If you want to play around with this code, there's also a link in the description. The code pen, it'll take you to a site. You can use it like on your mobile phone. You can even edit my code in your mobile phone. And yeah, but yeah, and please, if you enjoy the video, share to a friend, like, subscribe, and yeah, tell me what you want to see in the future because I have a lot planned for this summer. Love you guys. Peace.